Grab your phone right now and open your bank account. Look closely at the number you see there. That number, which feels like the reward for years of hard work, the guarantee of your secure future. What if I told you that number is actually a silently melting ice cube? Or let me go even further. What if I told you it could melt away overnight? You'd probably tell me I'm talking nonsense. But in 2023, those specialist doctors in Lebanon, whose decade of savings evaporated overnight and dropped below minimum wage, also thought they were safe. Or the street sweepers in 1946 Hungary. What they were sweeping wasn't autumn leaves, but their own country's worthless banknotes. Let me tell you a bitter mathematical truth. The average lifespan of paper fiat currencies printed throughout history is only 27 years. Just calculate how much time has passed since 1971, when even the US dollar was taken off the gold standard. The question isn't whether your currency will collapse. The question, according to historical data, is when it will collapse. This isn't a conspiracy theory, it's a historical fact. I've spent hundreds of hours analysing the economic data of the last century, from Weimar to Venezuela, from Zimbabwe to Lebanon. In this video, I will show you those 5 flawless assets held by those who stay standing when the rules of the game change overnight, when the system pulls the plug and everyone else goes under. And I'll talk about 2 fatal mistakes you should never make, which will wipe you out instantly. If you don't want the numbers in that bank account to melt away for no reason, listen carefully, because you don't look for an umbrella when the storm has already broken. If you've liked the video and subscribed to my channel to support me, let's begin. Part 1. The mathematics of collapse. Before moving on to the solution, you need to know the enemy. The collapse of currencies is not a random accident. It is a mathematical, predictable, and step-by-step pattern. The exact same 5 stages occur every time. Stage 1. The government starts spending far more than it collects in taxes. Stage 2. Unbacked money is printed to close this massive gap. Stage 3. This new money pumped into the market dilutes the purchasing power of the existing money. Inflation rises. Stage 4. People wake up. In panic, they start converting their money into other things. The flight from cash accelerates. Stage 5. Total and absolute collapse. Hyperinflation. Picture November 1923. You are in a bakery line in Berlin. The sign says a loaf of bread is 200 billion marks. While you wait in line for 12 minutes, the baker crosses out that price and writes 250 billion marks. While you were just standing there, your money lost 30% of its value. It's the same pattern. Zimbabwe in 2008. A bus ticket required a $100 trillion banknote. Venezuela in 2018. A carton of eggs cost 7 million bolivars. That's why when the day comes and the system burns, what you hold in your hands determines whether you survive or not. Let's take a closer look at those 5 assets. Part 2. The 5 assets that survive. Item 1. Universal insurance. Precious metals. First on the list is the most obvious asset, yet one that people still don't give enough space to in their portfolios. Gold and silver. The only thing governments cannot create out of thin air, and central banks cannot print on a press to devalue. Look at this ruthless math. If you held paper marks when the Weimar Republic collapsed, you lost everything. 100%. A total wipeout. But if you held gold, you preserved your purchasing power down to the last millimetre. An ounce of gold filled the same grocery basket before the crisis as it did in the middle of it. The currency changed. The function of gold did not. Item 2. The escape valve. Strong foreign currencies. Our second saviour is foreign and stable currencies. If your own ship is taking on water, you have to get into the sturdy lifeboat of another country. Let me take you to Beirut in October 2019. You are a nurse. With 10 years of hard work, you've saved the equivalent of $50,000 in Lebanese liras in the bank. The currency has been pegged to the dollar for 22 years. Everything looks very safe. Then one day, that peg breaks. The exchange rate, which was 1,500 in 2019, skyrockets to 89,000 by 2024. Your seemingly safe $50,000 savings, even though it still looks like the exact same number in the system, is now only worth $1,000. You became 98% poorer. But here is the crucial point. If another nurse friend of yours kept those savings outside the bank, under the mattress, as physical US dollars or Swiss francs, she protected her entire purchasing power. That's why in countries like Zimbabwe, Ecuador, Venezuela and Argentina, the public spontaneously dollarizes the economy during a crisis. The government imposes bans, but people vote with their wallets. In a crisis, An accessible foreign exchange reserve is not about market fluctuation. It is a matter of life and death. Item 3. The biggest misconception: productive export-driven stocks. We've come to the third one, and I'm sure this will surprise you, because this is the line that separates the ordinary person from the investor who understands economic autopsy. Productive stocks. You think if the economy crashes, the stock market crashes too, right? It sounds logical, but historical data says no. The Venezuelan stock market surged more than 3,400% in 2024. How do stocks skyrocket while a country is starving? It's very simple. A stock is not just a piece of paper. It is a partnership in a real factory, a tractor, a production line. When the currency's value goes to zero, the nominal price of those physical assets has to inflate against that currency. But there is a life-saving detail here. Not every stock. Only companies that earn their income in foreign currency and export will survive. If a company only sells goods to the local public using that collapsing currency, its end will also be a disaster. But companies that produce cheaply domestically and sell abroad in euros or dollars become the biggest winners of crisis periods. They don't just survive, they compound their wealth. Item 4. The cash of the crisis: consumption and barter goods. In the fourth spot are the things that will save you the moment the system completely freezes. Barter goods. Banks are closed, cards aren't working. You can't hand a gold bar to the grocer to buy bread. Do you know what the new currency became in Germany after World War II when the official money collapsed? American cigarettes. They were standardized, portable, and non-perishable. They acted just like money, but the government wasn't printing them. Recently in Venezuela, fishermen traded fish for flour to feed their children. Generators, batteries, water filters, painkillers, even hygiene products. These are not a long-term investment portfolio, but they are the tactical ammunition that allows you to survive and trade during that first harshest shockwave of the crisis. Item 5. Farmland and the fifth saviour. The asset that produces the one thing mankind cannot do without: farmland. During the Great Depression, while city bankers were committing suicide, farmers with land might not have been able to buy new clothes, but they didn't go hungry either. Your commercial real estate in the city leaves you with tenants who cannot pay rent during a crisis, but the land produces food for you. However, I must give a warning here. Land is immovable. It is not liquid. Governments can easily tax it, or, as happened in Zimbabwe, confiscate it. Therefore, well-located farmlands, preferably producing export-oriented crops, are a true wealth preservation tool. Part 3. The 2 mistakes that wipe out wealth. Now we come to the dark side of the video. We've learned what survives. So what are the 2 things that will absolutely 100% bankrupt you? First, fixed income securities, namely bonds, denominated in the collapsing currency. Lending money to a collapsing state or system is the biggest mistake you can make. Those who bought government bonds during the 2001 Argentine crisis lost more than 70% of their money with a single signature, and they could only recover the rest after years of dragging through the courts. Being offered a 50% interest rate in a place where inflation is 200% means that 150% of your wealth is legally being stolen from you. Second, bank deposits in the local currency. Because those numbers in the bank don't change, you feel safe. But this is where the real danger lies. Your money doesn't decrease in the bank. The meaning of your money decreases. Local currency deposited in Lebanese banks in 2019 could only retain 2% of its former purchasing power by 2024. Part 4. What should we take away from this video? I haven't just told you a doomsday scenario. I've told you the solutions that history has proven time and time again. The lesson you should take from this is not to sell everything and move to a bunker in the mountains. The real lesson is this. True diversification means holding different asset classes. If you tie yourself solely to a single country's currency, a single country's stock market, or just bank deposits, you are betting all your money on a single colour at the roulette table. Your portfolio must contain precious metals, as fire insurance, strong foreign currencies against systemic risks, and international, export-driven stocks that feed on crises. The warning signs are flashing today in Iraq, in Turkey, in Lebanon, in Argentina. Even the US dollar, under its massive debt burden, is facing its own historical test. Remember, that average 27-year cycle continues to operate. Historical autopsies don't lie. It's in your hands not to become the next case study. If this financial analysis has changed your perspective on the economy and the money you hold, hit that subscribe button because we will continue to decipher the system on this channel, and leave a shield emoji in the comments. I want to see who has woken up, who is already preparing for the storm. I will read them all one by one. Thanks for watching. Now go and protect your portfolio before falling victim to the system. See you later.